Greetings and skeletations, my new ghoul friends. I'm Niomi Dylan Sass, resident podcaster here at UIC Radio, and I'm taking you along with me to visit something grave today. This is where hauntings feel like hellos. Welcome to the brand new podcast for everything in the horror genre, from movies to mythologies and mysteries. This is She's in the Crypt. On this week's frightful journey, you all have the pleasure of having me, head mistress of the Crypt. I will be taking a solo adventure into the dark, cold abyss. The cast of American Horror Story Season 13 has just been revealed, and this season's cast is filled with actors who contributed to making AHS what it is today. There will be a trigger warning at the beginning of each of my episodes, just in case today's dark discussion isn't your preferred potion. I'm going to be talking about murder, barbaric torture, witchcraft, deformities, cults, and the end of days. Ghouls, I get it if you can't listen to that right now. Just leave us a like on your way out and be sure to tune in next week for a different dark discussion. After this quick break, I'll be back to do some light grave digging into the 9 actors who were teased to return to this new season. Sarah Paulson, Evan Peters, Angela Bassett, Kathy Bates, Emma Roberts, Billy Lord, Gabori Sidibe, Leslie Grossman, and the HWIC herself, Jessica Ling. Plus, a brand new cast member has been added to the season, Ariana Grande. Gagged. I'll be giving a brief summary of seasons 1 through 10, then telling you all the characters that these actors played and the ones that were my favorite. Lastly, I will be doing some heavy speculation on what the new season could have in store for us, which will be premiering on Halloween of 2026. I'll be rolling in my grave with excitement while you listen to this quick message from beyond. Alrighty, I just finished making the final point of the pentagram. Dim the lights, lit the black flame candle, and it's ready. This is She's Summoning. Everyone, please welcome me. I kind of realized that there may be some listeners who don't know who I am, so I thought this was a good time for a solo episode. So, y'all could get to know me a little better. So I'm just going to go ahead and ask myself these lovely questions that I typically ask my guests, starting with, what do I do for a living right now? So, for a living right now, I am a full-time student at the University of Illinois, Chicago. Shout out, duh. And I am a deck supervisor / swimming instructor at a non-discrete swimming facility. I teach children how to swim from like babies to like 12, 13-year-olds. We have some 14, 15-year-olds. It's not like their fault they're still there. It's mostly like the parents like not wanting to let them leave the program, even though we're like, hey, they're kind of old enough to work here now. Like, are you sure you don't want them to go? So yeah, that's what I've been doing for like the last year. Yeah, about a year or so of my life since I moved out here to Chicago. That was literally the first job I got out here. I never saw myself like working with children and like doing swimming. Like I never swam professionally. I hate the ocean. Lakes are okay. Pools, I vibe with pools. I vibe with pools. But on the application, it was like, do you know how to swim? I was like, yeah, I don't sink. So basically, I sold myself good at the interview, and they had given me the job on the spot. I was like, lit. But I ended up really like finding a good resonance with that job. Like, I realized it's not kids that are kind of like annoying. It's like the parents of the kids that are annoying, that the kids kind of like just inherit some of their parents' bad traits. But then when you are actively in the same room with parents and the children, you're like, oh, okay, I see how the kid is acting this way. But, it's totally okay. Most of them are super cool. It's just some of them, that's everywhere where you work, though. Everywhere you work just has those customers that think that money is like the reason why you should do everything at their beck and will. But you can't get away from that. We live in America. So my major is theater arts. So right now I'm at the University of Illinois Chicago doing my bachelor's in arts in theater and performance. And I'm taking the performance track. I got accepted into the BFA major of this program. That's what I applied for the school for. And the admissions advisor, he called me and he was like, yeah, totally, like, you're in, like, you got it. You can do the BFA program, but you have a lot of credits. Sadly, our BFA program, plus like every other BFA program basically in the Chicago area, is a 4-year program, and you would basically have to like start from the beginning. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do 2 whole more years of school when I can like get a bachelor's in 2 years. And he was like, so we know here's the alternative. We can admit you as a bachelor's and the bachelor's of arts for the theater and performance. And I was like, cool, let's do it. Sounds good. So that's how I ended up here. I do have an associate's in theater arts already. I have an associate's in communications, and I have an associate's in journalism. Some reason UIC doesn't have a journalism program. But that's totally fine because they have this lovely radio station. But that's how I ended up here at the radio station, because when I was doing the journalism program at my old at my old community college before I transferred here, the journalism program there was really, really fun. I ended up like finding a part of myself that I always wanted to explore. My favorite show I used to watch was Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And one of the last seasons, she ends up being a journalist, in I think Boston or whatever. But that always like intrigued me. I was like, ooh, that looks fun. Like a professional chismosa. I'm kind of down. But when I'm done with my bachelor's, I do want to get my master's in theater, and I do want to eventually turn my associate's in journalism into a bachelor's in journalism as well, and like mesh the two together somehow. So the next question is, what draws me to the genre horror? And this is very, not a loaded question, but a loaded question. I think the horror genre is totally underrated. In a sense, when you live a traumatic life, it's nice, not nice, but it's relieving in a way to see other stories that get way, 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 way worse than something you can imagine or something that you could go through. So then it puts into perspective what you go through. Okay, it may not be that bad. It's valid. Your feelings are valid. Everything you went through, and how it affects you is totally valid. But seeing it could be worse. That's one of the reasons. Another reason is in the queer community, we have always been labeled as monsters and stuff. I wrote a whole honors paper on how people of the LGBTQIA community have been labeled as monsters, but it's really the people who have labeled us as monsters are the true ones, because they are ones who have done these terrible, unspeakable, horrific acts of violence against us in the name of heterosexuality or heteronormativity, or just religion too, for the fact that most of them use it's against my religion, which is why they use the justification for their actions on homophobia, basically. That's why I love and connect with a lot of monsters and horror people, especially the bad mama jamas in horror, how we did the Monster Mommy episode. I just love horror women. Final girls, I love the evil women. It's just something, I am a theater performer, so as an actress, that are all roles that I would just sink my teeth and nails into, and just go completely ham and want to do that to my utmost abilities. So this is why I really enjoy the horror genre, because I see myself in this field. If I ever were to go into film and television, I do love theater a lot, but if I were to do film and television, it would be in the lines of spooky stuff. I just find that better. I could do comedy. I'm funny, but I feel I'm funny in the wrong ways. Sometimes I feel sometimes I'm funny when I'm not trying to be, and then if like a lot of the times for instance, when I used to do dance and I used to like weigh a couple more pounds, like I would do stuff that was what I thought was sexy, and then people would laugh and be like, "Oh my god, you're so funny," and I'd be like, "That's crazy. I was trying to be sexy. What you mean I'm funny?" You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's kind of why. Those are like all of the things that ended up leading me to this route. And what I'm most excited to talk about today is American Horror Story. The new season just like the cast list was just released, I think, on Halloween because they're teasing it for next year's Halloween. But the new cast list was just released. And when I say they got the gang back together, they got the gang back together. This is going to be so crazy. So we are going to dig into this topic right now. All right. Are y'all ready for the next segment? This is Dark Discussions. Shh. So, first, I'm going to dig up a cute summary of American Horror Story, seasons 1 through 10. Why only 1 through 10? I'm so glad you asked. It's because I fell off after season 10. I'm not going to lie. We'll get into that a little later. But yeah, season 10, it was like a double feature season. The first one was like, okay. And then the second one, I was like, all right, I get it, but I don't get it. You know? It wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. So, the first season was labeled Murder House. This season is set in Los Angeles, California, and follows the Harmon family, Ben, Vivian, and their daughter, Violet. They just moved from Boston to a mansion in LA, hoping for a new life after Vivian suffers a miscarriage, and Ben gets caught cheating on her. They soon discover that their home is filled with numerous malevolent entities that are trapped there because all of them ended up being horrifically murdered on the premises throughout all of the decades of the different families living there. Over time, the house is able to consume the Harmons one by one, just like it has any other family that has stepped foot in this house. So, this season was like legendary. This season is what started it all. And for me, I think the one thing that really stuck out to this season was the little whistle, the yeah, that one. That song was used in like a bunch of remixes and a bunch of like creepy stuff. But that song was like Tate Langdon. He was like the main protagonist slash antagonist basically of the season that followed the murder house. He was one of the souls that were trapped inside of that house. His family previously lived there. Um, his family previously lived there, and he ended up being the like a school shooter at his school. But somehow he was able to get back to his house after he did what he did at his institution. So the cops found him back at his house, and they ended up killing him in his room upstairs. Now his mom, Constance, she moved into the house next door because she realized that that house, all of the spirits, you know, when you died there, you stayed there. And that's so basically the whole premise of this whole entire season is there's all of these different spirits, most of them bad, some of them lost, some of them confused, rare of them good, that are just trapped in this house because all of them were horrifically murdered there throughout just the years. And this one is just really, really, really cool because they like set this in Los Angeles. There's the murder house that is in Los Angeles. I don't think that house is like actually haunted or anything, but now it's like a big attraction and you can go visit it. Yeah, so that's just, you know, we have a lot of seasons to get through. So we're just going to do like a little bit of each one. But that was the main thing about Murder House for me. That one just started everything. We got the introduction to all of the principal characters that ended up being inside of the seasons to come that just made the show what it was. So the next season is Asylum. This is season 2. It was set at a mental institution, Briarcliff Manor in Massachusetts in the year 1964. It follows the nuns and the doctors who run the facility along with their patients, and the characters Alana Winters and Kit Walker. Miss Winters, the ambitious journalist that she is, goes off and tries to get a scoop on Briarcliff by sneaking in to investigate the cruel conditions. Sister Jude, the head mistress there, found Lana and had her committed to be treated against her will based on the fact that she was a lesbian. Kit Walker has been accused of murdering his fiancée, who was a person of color, and is being accused of other murders committed by the serial killer labeled as Bloodyface. Lana is subjected to torture and is aided in escaping by Dr. Thretson, who ended up being the actual Bloodyface. Lana is able to shut Briarcliff down, and the years later comes to face with her begotten son, who was conceived against her will when she was captured by Bloodyface, unfortunately. He possesses the same evil his dad had, the son, and he attempted to take Lana's life. This is way in the future, but she was able to kill him first. Kit was cleared of the accusations because of his fiancés ended up returning miraculously and pregnant. And they took care of Sister Jude until her old age, where she kind of just like I think the aliens took her at the end, if I'm not mistaken. Like she kind of like died peacefully, and then the aliens just like took her body. I think the kids, Kit Walker's kids, like kind of like helped in that because they were conceived in the alien ship too. So I think the kids at the end were like the ones that were also brought back to like the mothership and took the body of her. She is a very fascinating specimen, Sister Jude. But Sister Jude is trying to run away from a life of guilt. She was a major like alcoholic, sex worker, and one night she was driving very, very drunk, and she ended up running somebody over and did a hit and run, and the kid died, and she basically has been running her whole entire life. She quit drinking. She went to, I believe, a Catholic church, turned herself into like one of the top nuns, and became the, headmistress of this institution that brought about torture in guise of curing mentally incapacitated people. So nowadays, we know that this isn't something that works. It's not something that you can really do. This is obviously taken to the extreme in the season, where at the asylum, they were really, really torturing these people and like experimenting on them and stuff. And there may have been some real instances of that, like especially during World War II, which is where they get like some of the inspiration from. But a lot of it was very dramatized. There you go. That's the word. A lot of it was very dramatized. However, a lot of the stuff was happening. Like people who were battling homosexuality within themselves did get institutionalized and some sort of like conversion therapy in order to cure them of their homosexuality, which, now we know there's no cure. If you're gay, you're just gay. Sorry about it. The thing that stuck out to me the most about season 2 was like the aliens were always like an underlining story to it. But that wasn't the most interesting thing to me. The most interesting thing to me was the inside of this institution. The inside of this institution, especially during this time, they were able to create their whole entire like world and universe based on the laws that they created from the text of their scripture. So they again did all of this stuff in the name of God, in the name of pureness, in the name of trying to get this kind of like evil stuff out of you so you could be a normal person in society again. But this was just crazy. It was really, really good. My favorite thing in this season was when they did the name game. It was Sister Jude, Lana Winter. She kind of like had like a little. She just got done getting like electroshock. She just got done going through like electroshock therapy, and like she goes to her little waiting room, and then like it goes into this little dazed dream state where Sister Jude is doing the name game, and it's just this iconic, silly little camp scene where she goes like, Anna, Nana, Bofana, me, my, Momana, Fee, Fa, Fofana, Lana. And then they have like the whole menstrual institution just like dancing and doing this. And then Sarah Paulson's character's like, what the fuck is going on? Is this really happening? So yeah, that's season 2. Season 3 is Coven. This season is set in modern day New Orleans and follows a hidden academy that helps young witches develop and harness their powers. This academy is for exceptionally young ladies and is possibly the only sanctuary left for witches who descended from the Salem witch trials. The coven contains Zoe, who has a killer coochie, Madison, the TV star with telekinesis, Queenie, the human voodoo doll, and Nan, the one who has ability to hear anyone's thoughts. The school is run by the botanist Cordelia Fox, the daughter of the coven's supreme, Fiona Good, who is known to be the coven's worst supreme, actually. Fiona comes back to her coven because she can tell that her powers are fading, which means another witch is starting to gain the powers of the supreme. The coven has a battle between the voodoo queen Marie Laveau, who has been alive since the 1800s. The voodoo queen has the help of witch hunters to try and get the upper hand on the coven, but Cordelia ultimately becomes the new supreme just in time to save the coven from complete destruction. So this one, I think, in my opinion, is probably the most iconic one of them all. Yeah, this one is probably the most iconic one of them all. This one was all of my friends' favorite season when they came out. This one, I think, still holds up to this day. This is the season that has the most callbacks to new seasons. Like, new seasons, when they come out, they always try to call back to Coven somehow. Coven, I feel like, is at one of the centers of the American Horror Story universe, which is really, really cool because Coven is just all about feminism, women power, women coming into their power, dejecting men, having them be the second-class citizen. And this one is really fun, too, because they are able to, Jessica Lange's character, Fiona Good, she comes across, what is her name? She comes across Kathy Bates' character, which is like an old colonial woman who had owned a bunch of, there we go, Madame Lalaurie. She found her, Marie Laveau had her trapped and gave her the curse of eternal life and buried her underground, way underneath the coven. Not even underneath the coven, I think it's just underneath somewhere inside of freaking New Orleans. But Marie Laveau had her buried because she had a bunch of slaves, and one of the slaves that that Madame Lalaurie had was Marie Laveau's lover, and she turned him into like a centaur man, basically. Cut off his head and sewed on the head of a, what is it, like a ram or a bull or something? I think a bull, the head of a bull, big old horns. Yeah, so this one also has kind of like real lore intertwined into it too, like the voodoo life of New Orleans, how I think Madame Lalaurie was based on a real brutal colonial woman who, did a bunch of crazy shiznit back in the day. But yeah, this one was like, and then the costumes for this one. Oh, Stevie Nicks was in this one. Come on, Stevie Nicks was inside of this episode as the White Witch herself. This was just like, of course Stevie Nicks was inside of the Coven episode. Why wouldn't Stevie Nicks be inside of the witch season? She is a witch. I think that right there is probably the best thing about this season. All right, so we'll go on to the next one. The next one is Freak Show. This season takes place in Jupiter, Florida in the year 1952. Freak Show is one of the carnival sideshows left in America and is filled with a troupe full of regular people on the inside, but on the outside, they are labeled as freaks because of all of their deformities. Elsa Mars, the leader of the troupe, finds the conjoined twins Bet and Dot Tatler and convinces them to be her brand new attraction. Elsa longs for her ticket to stardom after the long life she lived, and she gets her opportunity and takes it and leaves her family of freaks behind. The troupe faces many devastating consequences, which result in most of their lives being taken. We have a rich boy who is psychologically just effed up in the head, Dandy, and he tries to purchase the troupe for himself as like some like toy. He was fascinated with Twisty the killer clown. Taking inspiration from him, he torments the remaining cast. Dandy finally snaps and ended up killing most of the freaks until the remaining ones banded together to take him down in the final episode. Elsa lived a life full of emptiness and guilt, but found her stardom. When she finally dies, she gets her version of heaven. She ends up back under the big top of the circus with her family of freaks that always loved her and saw her as the star Elsa was so desperately trying to become. It truly was like a really, really beautiful ending, honestly. I've said it before, I am a cry baby biatch, and this is definitely one of those seasons where I think I cried like 4 times because the characters in the season were just like literally so character driven. All of them were brought to life so well by the actors in this, and especially this kind of like concept where, you know, these are a group of ostracized people. However, the interpretations of these people really help bring into the audience perspective that these are just regular people. You know, like, we're the fucked up people for making them feel like they don't belong in this kind of society, which is like another thing that, you know, correlates with queer people too, which is another thing that kind of always makes me connect with horror stuff, you know? Freak Show was, I think, the last season that had Jessica Lange, and she put her everything into this role. It was truly phenomenal. The next season is going to be season 5. This one is Hotel. This one is when Lady Gaga was the like lead cast member in this one, which was so iconic, just right off the bat. So we end up back in Los Angeles at the Hotel Cortez in modern times, which was built by the infamous serial killer in the 1930s, James Patrick March. This hotel feeds on its guests' deep, dark desires, sins, and addictions. Detective John Lowe finds himself at the hotel while investigating a string of murders, where John meets some of the hotel's most prominent guests. The Countess, the vampire-like owner of the hotel who feasts on the blood of LA's most stunning people. Iris, the hotel manager who stays there to keep her connection with her undead son alive. Liz Taylor, a transgender bartender who can only find acceptance from the spirits damned to that hotel. Sally, the drug-addicted ghost that battles the addictions of love itself too. The Countess meets her end at the hands of the people she has done wrong over the years. So John becomes a permanent resident after he realizes his sins led him there for her reason, and he is only able to leave on Halloween night, now just like the rest of the residents there at the hotel. Liz Taylor inherits the hotel and turns it into a safe haven for wayward souls until she dies a peaceful death and is welcomed by her undead family that has been waiting for her all along. So, there's a couple things about this one. Fun things, problematic things, whatever. One of the problematic things, I always hate when they have a transgender character played by like a straight man who is not a trans person, just because a lot of the times the interpretation just feeds into the idea that all trans people just look very masculine and very manly, even though a lot of them go through like, you know, facial feminization surgeries. They go through their hormone replacement therapies and all that. So a lot of them don't end up looking like these portrayals in these movies and stuff. He didn't do anything like super offensive. And he studied a lot of like real queer people and real transgender people. It's just like, you know, it's one of those things, give queer roles to queer people. You know what I'm saying? That's all. That's the only like problematic thing in my opinion I saw from this season. Other than that, this season was like the sexiest season ever. That's the only thing I could describe it. Anytime you put a vampire, and especially a vampire played by Lady Gaga, come on. Like, this season was literally just like embodied sex, like in every episode, almost right off the bat. Like, I think there was there was literally intercourse probably once in each episode of the season, which, you know, go off, queen. This season was aesthetically pleasing too. They used a lot of like neon lighting within the set design and a lot of the directing styles. Like, it just really brought the creepiness of this hotel that is connected to like hell itself. Like this hotel is labeled as the mouth of hell, like just where everything and anything can come in. It's one of the portals that you can easily go into hell, but it is very hard to get out of there. It is a very, very good season. Next on the dossier is season 6, Roanoke. This season is set in present-day North Carolina at a farmhouse that has the connection with the mysterious lost colony of Roanoke. It follows Shelby Miller and Matt Miller. They are a married couple. They just bought this house for a steal, hoping to get away from their past. It didn't take long before they discovered why they were able to get that house for so cheaply. The land itself was cursed by the malevolent spirit known as the Butcher, who vowed to terrorize any person who stayed on their property. This is done in a documentary style where 2 actors played Shelby and Matt, while the real ones give interviews about their experience escaping that house. Then the producers of that show had an idea to get the actors and the real Shelby and Matt to come back to the house for a one-night exclusive program. Shelby and Matt knew this was a bad idea, but were convinced anyways. Most of them died that night, and the curse stayed on the land, which was once the lost colony of Roanoke. All right. This one was honestly low-key one of my favorite seasons. The directing style of this, like the way that this was a show within a show within a show. It started off as this documentary style show, as like we were seeing these 2 characters reenact what was going on in the Roanoke house that happened to them, as we were seeing the 2 characters describe what the real people that this happened to describe what was going on, like in an interview style, in an interview style locale. After that, it jumps to another show where it is, this one turns more into like a reality show. The first one goes into a documentary style, and the next one goes into a reality show where they follow the actors who all participated in that first rendition where they did the reenactment and all that jazz. So that one was, they turned that one into reality. So the actors who played Shelby and Matt in the reenactment had to do like double duty because they had to play the real person, because they were obviously actors, so they had to play the actors playing those actors. So it was very meta. It was super fun. Kathy Bates' role in this one was like standout role. We will get into that later. But yeah, Roanoke, that is why it was my favorite, just because it was like a movie within a show, within a show, within a documentary, within a reality show, within a season. So each episode was very climactic in that sense because there was a couple shows going on, so you didn't have to wait until like the middle of the season to get to that really climactic part. The climactic part was literally almost in every single episode of the show, which was chef's kiss. So next up on the season is season 7. This season is set in Michigan in the year 2016 after the election that year, where, what's-his-face won. It follows Allie Mayfair Richards, who is riddled with almost every kind of phobia there is, and results of the election trigger them tenfold. There is a cult that is starting to form in her town and ends up terrorizing her and the people who reside there as well. Kai Anderson is the one who is charismatic enough to spearhead this cult. A master of psychological manipulation, he gets his cult to grow violent enough to carry out his plan to fearmonger the rest of the town into electing him. Kai, of course, gets overthrown by the very people he began to gain control over. Allie confronts her deep fears and gains more of a sense of self after defeating her complicated relationship with paranoia. This whole season blended the lines between reality and fiction very, very well, which added like another layer to the overall horror aspect. And the reason I say that is because this literally came out right after the year Donald Trump became president. And it just displayed real fear of like people, especially women, who were not happy that that man won. I mean, most people were not happy that that man won, but this really like amplified what could happen to our society and kind of what like did happen a little bit. Yeah, oh my God, that's like way too much to unpack. But yeah, so this kind of like is not scary, but it's real because it's scary because it's real, because now we have these like extremist people who follow this man and do everything and anything this man does, which is what basically all these characters did in the season Colt. So with that being said, I wonder if the same fate that happened to Kai, will potentially happen to other people who lead the same life that he does. Yeah, Colt was mid. Not gonna lie, Colt was mid. Best thing about it, Billy Lord and Evan Peters. Next up is Apocalypse. So this season is set in the post-apocalyptic America where World War III ended everything as we knew it, from the nuclear weaponry used. So Apocalypse was season 8, yes. This season had a crossover into many other seasons with American Horror Story. It combined them together masterfully. It starts with a group of people we know who were kept safe from the nuclear fallout, either because they had perfect genetic makeup or their wealth afforded them a ticket. They are kept safe for about 18 months until the Antichrist appears at their doorsteps, coming to rescue a lucky few of them, but they all die. Until Supreme Cordelia Fox, Madison Montgomery, and Myrtle Snow, witches from season 3 Coven, appear and revive the next generation of witches that were kept secret all these years. The plot alternates from Michael Landon's, who is the Antichrist. It alternates from his rise, the preparation from the Coven, and what they need to do in order to restore the world, and the aftermath of what would happen in a nuclear fallout. There are numerous flashbacks that connect the season Murder House and Coven together, which make up the backstory of the Antichrist. So if Langdon sounds familiar, that's because Tate Langdon, yeah, I remember Tate Langdon, the one in season 1, he is, I forget how they are related, but they are related. Yeah. Constance Langdon, like, was the one that kind of like birthed the Antichrist in a way, I think. But yeah, so she comes back. Jessica Lange, her character comes back after all these seasons for a little cameo in one of the episodes for the storyline in Apocalypse, which is super, super cool. So after we see how the Murder House and Coven tie in together, we even see Cordelia take a trip to the Hotel Cortez to try and recover Queenie's soul. Remember the human voodoo doll. The witches and the Antichrist battle it out, and the witches reaffirm their power, legacy, and reinforce the balance of good and evil. So yeah, they reinforce the balance of good and evil. Apocalypse is also another one of those like freaking awesome seasons. The thing that stands out to me the most about Apocalypse, I remember specifically when this season first came out, I was watching the first episode in my living room, and literally like I had to pause halfway through because like the ending of the world scene literally gave me anxiety so bad. It was so good. Like everything that just happened, the acting portrayed in it, it was all just like literally just so good. Like how that whole end of the world just happened. I literally like once like the atomic bomb went off and like yeah, when the fallout, I guess the wave of fallout like hits the airplane that they're all on. I had to pause it real quick because I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. Oh my god, that's crazy. What if that happens? So Apocalypse was, I think, scary for that sense too. That was for me at least, that was like the main scary thing, was that first episode was holy shit. How could that's totally like, if World War III were to happen, that's what's going to happen. It's not going to be a tiny little like war. It's going to be an all-out nuclear attack, because that has what's been bubbling up these last decades, may I say centuries, of just stuff going on that I have no idea about. But yeah. Next up is going to be season 9. This one is 1984. So, this season is set at Camp Redwood, California in the year, you guessed it, 1984, paying homage to the 80s slasher film. Brooke Thompson is the protagonist in this one. She has an almost deadly encounter with the Night Stalker, who in fact was a real serial killer in Los Angeles in the 80s. In search of comfort, Brooke takes a job with her friends as a counselor for the summer at Redwood, where a horrific massacre happened 10 years earlier. This was at the hands of the serial killer Mr. Jingles, who escaped the same summer Brooke and her friends are working as counselors counselors there. It doesn't take long for the Night Stalker to find Brooke in an attempt to finish what he started back in LA. Now, the counselors are trying to survive the night against serial killers. Yes, plural, two of them, with zero remorse. In true slash fash, the majority of the characters die from one of the other serial killers. Margaret Booth, the owner of the camp and sole survivor of the massacre that happened a decade prior, was revealed to be basically the real Mr. Jingles in the 70s, and she had framed him for the massacre. The camp has the same aspect of Murder House, where if you die on the premises, then your spirit kind of just like stays there. With that being said, the vengeful spirits of the kids massacred in the 70s killed Margaret, and the camp remained closed. So this one was like an epic season. This one was a really, really good season. Definitely in my top 5. I'm a fan of 80s slasher films, so this one just like brought me complete joy. It was like equal part camps, and with the money and budget that they have, the kill scenes and CGI and practical effects were like so good. Yeah, I think the funniest thing, I don't remember the actor's name, but he was in Glee. He was the teacher in Glee. But his character was literally just like known to have like a ginormous genital region, and so that was like his whole bit in the movie, which was it was not movie in the season, which is just super funny. Emma Roberts eats in this season. Billy Lord eats in this season. All right. Next up, season 10. We have our double feature. This season has 2 stories tied into it. Part 1, Red Tide, and Part 2, Death Valley and Ocean. In Part 1, Harry and Doris Gardner moved to Provincetown, Massachusetts with their daughter, so Harry could get some writing inspiration. He gets introduced to a group of people who have extraordinary talents of their own that have been enhanced tenfold thanks to this magical black pill. If they take the pill and possess talent, then it will do wonders for their value of the art that they create. If they take the pill and don't have real talent, then they become a pale, monstrous creature with a thirst for blood. I mean, even if you do have talent, you do end up having a really big thirst for blood too, regardless. The whole family takes the pill, and the dad becomes a great writer at the terrible moral cost. The mom becomes a monstrous creature because she didn't have no real talent, and their daughter becomes a brilliant musician. She ends up killing her father and goes to Hollywood to make a profit off of her talents with her dad's agent. In part 2, it goes into an alien storyline, but I'm not gonna cap, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it. I watched episode 1, and it was like black and white, and I don't know, I just couldn't get into it. Yeah, the first episode didn't grab me. You know how I said like in Apocalypse, that first episode was like crazy? I think that first episode of that season kind of like set up this big expectation for me now for these first episodes to be like right off the bat, like impactful like that one. And so that first episode of that second part, it didn't do nothing for me, so I didn't feel intrigued to watch the rest of the season. And, you know, going into season 11 and season 12, I watched a couple of the first episodes too, and I kind of had the same effect. A lot of the principal characters weren't in those seasons, which I feel like kind of like led to me personally not watching them. I'm one of those people that get like super attached to things and super attached to people. Like if I start watching the show Friends, I'll end up having to watch it like from season 1 through season 10, and then by the time I'm done with season 10, I'm like, oh shit, hold on, I need to go back to season 1 because now what am I going to do with my life? I need to see these people before I go to bed. So that's kind of why I ended up falling off. But now we're at season 13, and the cast list was just revealed. Okay, so we have the first person on the cast list was Sarah Paulson. Sarah Paulson was in season 1 through 8 and in season 10. She played Dean Howard in Murder House, Lana Winters in Asylum, Cordelia Fox in Coven, Bet and Dot Tatler in Freak Show. Those were the conjoined twins. Sally McKinnon in Hotel, Audrey Tyndall as Shelby Miller in Roanoke, Allie Mayfair Richards in Cult. In Apocalypse, she played Miss Venable. She comes back as Cordelia Good and Dean Howard. In double feature, she played Tuberculosis Karen and Mammy Eisenhower. So my favorite character that she played out of all these is going to have to be in the season of Apocalypse. Because, I mean, all of these, I mean, Sarah Paulson is literally one of the people that, like, made American Horror Story what it is. in my respectful, humble opinion. But Apocalypse, I loved it because she's so good at playing different actors, and she played different characters, and she played so many different characters in this season. Starting with like the fucking ruthless Miss Venable, who is a complete opposite of Cordelia Good. She changed her last name because her husband in the last episode, not the last episode, her husband in Coven ended up being the witch hunter and tried to kill like the whole entire Coven. So yeah, she got rid of that last name and took her mom's last name, Good. So Cordelia is like this bad bitch, period. Like I don't know what, just literally like she's just the embodiment of girl power, woman power, of not accepting shit from nobody and following your intuition, because a woman's intuition is always the correct thing. So the next person on the cast list is Evan Peters. He was also in season 1 through 8 and 10. They're like besties. So Murder House, he was Tate Langdon. Asylum, Kit Walker. Coven, Kyle Spencer. Freak Show, Jimmy Darling. Hotel, James Patrick March. Roanoke, Rory Mahowen and Edward Philip Mott. So he was Rory Mahowen, who played Edward Phillip, yeah. Colt, he was Kai Anderson. Apocalypse, he played the hairdresser Mr. Gallant. Jeff Pfister, Tate Langdon, and James Patrick March. And the double feature, he was Austin Sommers in Red Tide. So my favorite one that he played in this one, it was back to the original one, Tate Langdon. I think this had every goth girl, like, this was our dream man. Tumblr, oh my god, Tumblr was not safe from him. Next up on the cast list is Angela Bassett. She was in season 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. In Coven, she played Marie Laveau. Freak Show, she played Desiree Dupree. Hotel, Ramona Royale. Roanoke, Roanoke, she played Monet Rumoslime. Yeah. Apocalypse, she came back as Marie Laveau. So Coven, Marie Laveau, hands down, best one Angela Bassett did. I mean, Angela Bassett's fucking phenomenal, so anything she touches is going to be amazing, exquisite. But Marie Laveau, her interpretation of that legendary voodoo high priestess queen is my favorite thing in the whole entire world. Next character is Kathy Bates. She was in seasons 3 through 6 and season 8. Coven, she played Madame Lalaurie. Freak Show, Ethel Darling. Hotel, she was Iris, the manager. Roanoke, she played the butcher. And Apocalypse, Miriam Mead. So her favorite character, not her, my favorite character of hers is going to be the butcher. The butcher in the Roanoke is so good. Like, so when she was acting as the butcher in the first documentary version of the show, where she was doing the reenactment, she ate it up. So she took that role to heart when that show was done, and it kind of broke her psychosis and her psychology, and it kind of gave her multiple personality disorder, because she ended up like attacking like citizens, and she couldn't break away from this role, and she ended up really becoming like the butcher in real life, and she was the one who did a lot of the killing in the reality show version. The rest of the season of Roanoke, she's the one that comes back because they didn't invite her to do the show because her psyche wasn't all there. They're like, no, girl, you're crazy. You're not going to come do the show. So she still crashed the party anyways and came there and killed everybody. Yeah, Kathy Bates, awesome. That was the best one. So the next one is Emma Roberts. Emma Roberts, she played Madison Montgomery in Coven. In Freak Show, she played Maggie Esmeralda. Colt, she played Serena Belinda. Apocalypse, she played Madison Montgomery. In 1984, she played Brooke Thompson. And Delicate, she played Anna Victoria Alcott. So my favorite one is going to be in Coven. Madison Montgomery, and in Apocalypse too. The same, she picks up the same character like right where it left off. It's really hard for actors to do that, I feel, sometimes, where they have to like jump back into a role that they played years before, but she does it so good. Emma Roberts plays a cunt so good. Emma Roberts is literally she's such a phenomenal actress in my humble opinion. But yeah, my favorite interpretation character that she played throughout the series were definitely Madison Montgomery. So next up is Billie Lourd. She was in seasons 7 through 13. In Colt, she played Winter Anderson. In Apocalypse, she played Mallory Montgomery. I believe Montgomery. 1984, no, not Montgomery, excuse me. In Apocalypse, she played Mallory, period. In 1984, she played Montana Duke. In Double Feature, she was Dr. Leslie Lark Feldman, the teeth sharpener. And NYC, she was Dr. Hannah Wells, the scientist. And in Delicate, she is Ashley, one of the PR experts. So, Billie Lourd is the daughter of Carrie Fisher. And Carrie Fisher is the daughter of, I forgot her name, but she is the grandma in Halloween Town. So just that's their cute little lineage. Billie Lourd is actually one of my favorite actresses. If I ever had a biopic of my life, I would want Billie Lourd to play me. She's just so funny. She's so hilarious. My favorite character she played was what was it? It was the one in 1984, Montana Duke. That one she just plays like if I was in the 80s, I would be this rocker chick with hair teased to high heavens, damaged from root to tip, who was just totally punk. Yeah, she's awesome. Oh, too, one time she was doing a movie, posting about one of her movies, and I commented on it. I was like, I will watch anything Mother Lord is on, and she liked the comment. I was like, okay, yes. Either she liked it or her little PR agent liked it. Either way, it said praise the Lord, liked your comment. I was like, yes. All right, so next we have Leslie Grossman. She was also in season 7 through 12. In Colt, she played Meadow Wilton. Apocalypse, she played Coco St. Pierre Vanderbilt. 1984, Margaret Booth. Double feature, she played Ursula Kahn and Dr. Calico. NYC, she played Barbara Reed. And Delicate, she played the other Ashley, the other crisis PR agent. My favorite interpretation she did was Coco St. Pierre Vanderbilt in Apocalypse. She plays like a stuck-up, rich character. So good. So good. Like, I was trying to take notes and watch this at the same time, and every time her character was up on the screen, like, being being rude, I literally, like, just got drawn into it because I was like, oh my god. She ate. So next up, we have Jessica Lange. She was only in season 1 through 4 and then had that cute little cameo in season Apocalypse. But in Murder House, she was Constant Langdon, Asylum, Sister Jude, Coven, Fiona Good, and Freak Show, Elsa Mars. So my favorite one is Elsa Mars. Elsa Mars was there's so much to unpack with Elsa Mars. She is just somebody who wanted to be a star and was always she was dealt the worst possible deck of cards to play in life. And through all of her trials and tribulations, she was still able to persevere to try to attain the dream that she always wanted and become a star, even though it was at the cost of all of her like friends and family. But she plays that just so well. She does that so well. And like the last person that's going to be on the cast list, Ariana Grande. Ariana, what are you doing here? Like, that's so crazy. So Ariana Grande, Billie Lourd, and who else? Emma Roberts all were castmates together on the show Scream Queens. So they already have like a good thingy together. So I'm hoping Ariana Grande is somehow implemented into those characters together. So now we can speculate, knowing what we know, now we can speculate about what season 13 could be. So season 13 definitely is going to have to do the witches. Like, all of these people were with witches. Oh my goodness. I forgot Gabri Sidibe. So she was in Coven. She was Queenie. So yeah, so she was Queenie. Oh my goodness, how could I forget her? So she was Queenie, but she was in a bunch of kind of seasons. I think she was in season 3, 4, 5, and 8. But she kept coming back as the same character, Queenie, which is really cool. Which like alludes to the fact like she's back for this season. So taking that like into reference, I think this is gonna be like another. It's gonna pick up right after Apocalypse, basically. Like, it's gonna have to do with the witches and the Coven. I think Ariana Grande, I hope we see her as like the good person in Wicked, but I hope she's like some villain, or I hope she's someone like nasty and like diabolical, how Lady Gaga was. I'm really excited to see what Ryan Murphy does with Ariana Grande for this. So we are going to get to our next segment real quick. We made it to Slash or Smash. The rules are very simple, but with a slight twist this time. I'm going to be naming the seasons of American Horror Story, and I will say whether I would slash or smash, and why. Basically, is it a good season or not? You can comment below whether your top smash is and your top slash is, okay? So round 1, all right? We have Murder House. We're going to smash, okay? Next, Asylum. I mean, come on. This one's also a smash. All right. Coven. Okay, you guys. Is it 3 smashes in a row? Yes, it is. A smash. Okay. So next we have Freak Show. Freak Show is gonna be a smash. Yep. Okay. Season 5. Hotel. Fuck, are all these gonna be smashes? It's quite possible. Season 5 is definitely a smash. I mean, Lady Gaga's in it. How can it not be a smash? Roanoke. Smash. Okay. So we got to season 7. Cult. Here is my first slash. You know what? I didn't like it. I didn't vibe with it. I watched the whole thing. It was whatever, to be honest. The acting was still very good. Just the story itself, it was whatever. I think they just tried to like play on what was current and take advantage of that situation. But it was still good. So next up, Apocalypse. Gonna be a smash. Yep, smash, hard smash. All right, next, 1984. That is def a smash. 1984. I love 80s slasher movies. Come on. And then next up, we have Double Feature. That one, both stories, slash. Next up, season 11, NYC. I'm sorry. Slash. I'm sorry. No shade to the NYC. This one was really queer too, which I loved, but I didn't like it. Next up, the newest season, Delicate. It's also gonna be a slash. I could not get into it. It was too, I feel modern to me. I don't like when movies and shows go into like the social media and internet aspect of life. You know? I don't know why. It's just keep that on the internet. So yeah, that was Slash or Smash. Sorry, that was kind of like a speed round. There's not too much to discuss with just myself. However, let me know whether you agree with my slashes and smashes of the seasons, or let me know your top slash or your top smash. And remember, I post all of this stuff on my Instagram, and you can go ahead and you can comment there. You can comment here on YouTube. It's up to you. Don't worry about it. So we have almost dug a hole big enough to fit this topic into, but before we go, this is the part of the show where I answer chilling inquiries from the Crypt Keepers. So today's question is, to the hot horror historian, I've been living on a pirate ship for the last 13 months because I ran away from home. I'm like 19 though. Is that still considered running away from home? Whatever. That wasn't the question. For context, I ran away because my parents are both circus entertainers and they were indoctrinating me to become a performer my whole life. Ever since I was little, I was taking all sorts of lessons like tightrope walking, acrobatics, elephant whispering, you name it, I did it. I couldn't take it anymore, so I just had to run away. Most people usually run away from their lives to join the circus, but I'm not gonna run away to another circus. That's just redundant. So I chose the next best thing. A pirate ship I stumbled across on the shores of the Galapagos Islands. I love my life at sea, but I actually miss performing. Do I suck it up and go back home to my family and rejoin the circus? Do I try to create a little circus troupe within the pirate community? I feel like I'm at one of those crossroads where whatever decision I make right now will impact the rest of my life. Can you relate to this at all? Please send some help. SS, boy lost at sea. Okay, cool. I love the circus, just first and foremost. Like Cirque du Soleil goes crazy. So if that's the circus that you came from, who knows? That's a good circus. That's a good circus. But here, let's go through the questions real quick. So we'll go through it backwards. Can I relate to this wherever about the crossroads and stuff? Yes, I kind of can. So right now I'm doing theater and I'm doing the radio stuff. So right now I feel like I can balance the two very, very good, but I feel like I will potentially get to that point in my path where I will have to choose one over the other, and that might have that butterfly effect kind of scenario where my career will end up going more towards one direction or more towards the other direction, but I'm really trying to keep that balance at the moment. So yes, I can relate to that. So do you try to suck it up and go back home to your family and rejoin the circus? So I have some experience with running away, and it's all up to you. If you're not somebody who is like prideful, definitely go back. Why not? Go back. You're older now. You have some other life experience, especially now that you've been gone. You can assert your own personality, your own will, and say, hey, if you guys want to be into my life, this is what's going to go on, okay? I'm going to be my kind of circus performer, not your kind of circus performer. You could start a troupe on the pirate ship. However, I just feel like you guys should be doing, pirate things. I don't know what that is. I don't think it's forming a troupe of circus entertainers. I feel like that might be hard to do at sea. You know what? I don't think it would be hard to do at sea at all. Have you ever considered applying to work on a Disney cruise? If you were a pirate and if you were a circus performer your whole life, I don't know why you wouldn't get hired as a Disney cruise in a hot second. Most entertainers that don't make the cut are because they get motion sickness or can't handle being at sea for so long. But if you've been at sea for 13 months already? Oh yeah, you could take a season of a Disney cruise. Okay, so that's my final advice. Actually, go apply at Disney and do that for a couple years and then see what your family's up to when you're 21, Perfect. So I'd like to thank my multiple personality disorder and my undiagnosed schizophrenia for hanging out with us today. I'll be plugging my upcoming show, Dance Nation. It is at the University of Illinois in Chicago. So this is going to be starting November 15th, 16th, 18th through the 22nd. I am an understudy, so hopefully one of those days I will be able to get to perform. That'd be really, really cool. If not, I do have cute, tiny little side bits within the play. So you can still come out and see me and say, hey, girl, how you doing? You can get tickets at theaterandmusic.uic.edu, and that is theater with THEATRE and music.uic.edu. I'd like to thank the UIC Radio for publishing this podcast, but most importantly, I'd like to thank you, the Crypt Keepers. Thank you for digging this grave with me, but unfortunately, the graveyard is closed. So until next time, we'll leave this episode in the crypt. Farewell and bad dreams. Make sure to follow the podcast on Instagram at She's in the Crypt for updates about shows and upcoming guests. Follow UIC Radio at UIC on Insta and subscribe to the UIC Radio YouTube channel so you won't miss a single episode every Monday at 10 a.m. And you can also check out other shows on the network too. The podcast was created, written, and edited by Niomi Dylan Sass. Hey! And published by UIC Radio. Music by Arthur Brenson, The Friendly Ghost, and sound effects from epidemicsounds.com. If you can't get enough of She's in the Crypt, you can check out my bi-weekly blog, Crypt Collections, every other Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on the website uicradio.net. And find me in the blog section. Bye!